Real Virginia is produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Farming, it's all good. Visit our website at vafarmbureau.org.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce all of the wonderful products we enjoy.
The legendary racehorse Secretariat was born here in Virginia. We'll learn how his bloodlines continue to influence thoroughbred racing. Want to get a jump on spring in your vegetable garden? Chris Mullins has some tips from the ground up. And if you're thinking about starting your own small farm food business, we have some suggestions.
Welcome back everyone. We're here at Meadow Event Park, the birthplace of Secretariat. It's been nearly 44 years since he was born here on this farm. But his bloodline continues to race in thoroughbred horses across the country. Dave Miller has more from Loudoun County.
March is the birth date of one of the most famous racehorses in the world, Secretariat. And we're here at the Mare Center in Middleburg, Virginia, to visit with Innkeeper, one of Secretariat's few living sons.
Innkeeper is a 1988 thoroughbred stallion. He is by Secretariat and out of a mare called Sue Babe by Mr. Prospector. He sold as a yearling. He's a Kentucky bred stallion that sold as a yearling for $1.15 million to the well-known trainer D. Wayne Lucas, and raced as a 2- and 3-year-old. He, as a 2-year-old, actually beat Strike the Gold, who was the eventual Derby winner that year.
Having a great ex-racehorse like Innkeeper with a history to Secretariat and a Virginia connection is important to the Mare Center. They continue that tradition and honor the thoroughbred racehorse.
It's one of the few thoroughbreds that is approved for breeding with warm blood registries, in addition to breeding, obviously, thoroughbreds. And we were very, very fortunate to acquire him from that owner. She donated him to the program. We were very, very grateful for that donation, to have a horse of that caliber here at the Mare Center. He's been with us for a little over 3 years now.
40 years after winning the Triple Crown of horse racing, Secretariat's bloodlines continue to be found in hundreds of thoroughbred horses like Innkeeper. After his death, Secretariat's heart was found to be twice the size of the average horse's heart, giving him an enormous endurance advantage. It's genetics like that which make Innkeeper such an attraction at Mare for students and horse breeders.
I'm a senior in animal and poultry science down at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, and for a semester we have the option to come and do an equine internship here at the Mare Center, and we get to take care of the horses on a daily basis as well as taking classes and help participate in research. And then one of the really cool things that we get to do is help foal out some of the mares and then work with breeding and stuff like that. I've grown up riding horses my whole life, and getting to work with them and build such a connection with them is something that you don't really get to do with a lot of other animals. And in addition to that, they make a really great model for research and also a model for humans. So a lot of stuff that we get to do here not only translates back into the equine industry, but it goes even further than that, which is really pretty neat.
The Mare Center has close ties with the Agriculture and Natural Sciences departments at Virginia Tech. They focus on horses and pastures, as well as land stewardship and environmental sustainability.
Students come to us with an interest in equine reproduction, so we're able to give them a lot of hands-on experience that they wouldn't necessarily get in a college program on a main campus. They are able to get here at the Mare Center. So the breeding herd helps them get that experience. Also, we do a number of research projects related to reproduction and nutrition, and they get that hands-on experience as well.
Virginia has a tremendous history in breeding excellent thoroughbred racehorses, sport horses, ponies, horses of all types and breeds. A lot of the history of the thoroughbred has been played out here in Virginia.
Having Innkeeper here has been great as well for our publicity because he is a bit of a celebrity because of his dad, and also his dam side was very, very good. And so we do have folks that come just to see Innkeeper, and then we're able to use that to teach him a little bit more about what we do at the Mare Center. So that's a great opportunity for us.
If you're a fan of Secretariat, don't miss his birthday celebration at the Meadow Event Park in Caroline County on March 29th. Reporting from Middleburg, Virginia, I'm Dave Miller.
Loudoun County and other northern Virginia localities have the highest concentration of horses in Virginia. But with more than 97,000 horses scattered across the state, you can't go far before you come across another horse farm. Virginia's equine industry has a huge economic impact. More than $1.2 billion is spent each year to own, house, feed, and show these beautiful animals. Horses are shown in competitions, raced for prizes, or kept for pleasure riding. One of the top 4-H programs continues to be Horses and Ponies, with dozens of clubs scattered across the state, introducing young people to the joys of riding and horse ownership.
Hi, we're going to be talking about how to cheat spring in your vegetable garden from the ground up. Please stay tuned.
The farm has been in the family for 134 years. This has been my home. It's the only thing I've known.
Growing up on a dairy farm was great. You've got all the opportunities to have fun in the wide open spaces and enjoy working with the crops and the cattle, and it was a good way of growing up. I really enjoyed it.
I believe that the family farm is important in this country, no matter if it's 50 cows or 5,000 cows. A lot of the family farms consume their own products, and they realize the importance of having a good, healthy product.
I am proud that our family and all of us here at this farm at Walkup can be involved in producing nutritious milk for the society. I'm Dan Myers, a 5th-generation dairy farmer from Virginia. I am dedicated to dairy, my cows, my milk, and my land.
Do you want to have tomatoes by early July? There are some tricks of the trade you can apply. Here's Chris Mullins from the Ground Up.
Hi, today we're at Virginia State University's Randolph Farm. We're going to be talking a little bit about how you can cheat the springtime, how to get out into the garden a little bit earlier. A few things, a few tips, a few tricks on how to do that. It's cold outside. We're in a greenhouse, and this is the ultimate way to cheat spring, but there's some other ways I think you can do it. What we have here is a raised bed. As you can see, this is a plastic covered raised bed that is a good way to warm up soil. The way that you go about doing this, first of all, you have to dig a little bit of a trench and pull some soil back so you'll have an area to put that black plastic on. As you pull this back, you're making a raised bed. The next step is to get your plastic and cover that raised bed with this black plastic. So after you've pulled the soil up to the middle from both sides, you create a furrow around the perimeter, and this is when you put the plastic down. That furrow is a place that you can pull the soil back and cover the plastic down. This soil that covers the plastic here will keep the plastic down, keep it from blowing away in those high winds of the springtime. Now this black plastic is going to help warm that soil up, and that's the idea for earliness here. You get warmer soil. You've raised this, made a smaller area to warm up of soil, and through this contact with the black plastic, it heats the soil up and lets you plant a little bit earlier. Well, now we've got our plastic put down, and this is a commercial grade black plastic that you can get at maybe a garden center or a farm store. But if you've just got a small area, you could probably get by with just using black plastic trash bags. Really all this is doing is a mulch to keep weeds from growing through, and it's also warming the soil. So after you've got it down, you need to cut a hole or cut an opening in it that'll allow you to plant your plant. And in this case, we've got some nice lettuce transplants, and we're going to pop them right in there. And of course, with all transplants, you're going to water that in good. One important thing to remember when you're putting this system down is to have some type of irrigation underneath this plastic, whether it's a soaker hose or a drip tape type material. That's going to allow the plants to really thrive, because otherwise they'd only get rain water through these planting holes. Well, let's go look at another method for cheating the growing season. Another great way to protect your crops from light frost is by covering them with some type of material like polyethylene plastic, or like this frost protection fabric. Now this comes in different weights and thicknesses, and it can be bought to protect crops from anywhere from 2 degrees up to about 7 or 8 degrees. It's a really nice material. It's very light, and what you can do is bend some little hoops, almost like a mini greenhouse, to hold the material over your plants. A rod like this, an 1/8 of an inch rod that's about 3 feet long, could easily just be bent into a kind of a hoop shape with your hands, and then you can put it right in the ground and then pull the material over it. Now once you've bent that hoop and you've put it in the ground, and they need to be spaced about 18 inches apart, you can take this material and just pull it out over the hoops. And you can see how it comes out pretty nicely here, and the hoops really support the material over the plants, and you can weight this down on the ends with 5-gallon buckets of water or bags of sand or something like that to keep it weighted down, but this will do a nice job of protecting your plants. Another thing is that it will exclude insects that are going to be getting in here early in the springtime, so that's an added benefit. Let's look at one more thing that you can use to cheat the spring. Well, the last thing I want to talk about as far as protecting your crops from light frost are hot caps. Now, many of you have tried things like plastic containers like this milk carton here that you can cut the bottom off of and use it as a protectant for your plant. You know, it's something that would fit right over your plant right there if you think you're going to have some light frost after you've planted it. You could also put a stake through there to hold it down. These kind of things people use. They're not terribly effective because they're very thin, but I've got another one that actually is pretty effective. It's called a wall of water, and you might have seen these in the past. They're plastic material here that's got cells that you fill with water. So once you fill it with water, and you can see this one's about 2/3 of the way full, you set it on the ground. It kind of makes a little teepee right here, and you can open that up and plant your plant in there. Let's use tomatoes as an example. If you plant your tomato plant in there, this kind of folds in. It protects the tomato from light frost. This water kind of warms up during the day and stays warm in there. And then as the plant starts to grow through here, you can fill these cells all the way up, and it'll expand out like this. And it'll still provide a lot of protection around the plant as it grows. These things cost about $5 or $6, but they're actually very effective, much more effective than those hot caps at keeping your plants alive in cold weather. Well, for more information about season extension, please contact your local county extension office. From the Ground Up, I'm Chris Mullins. We'll see you next time.
Spring is almost here, and that means eggs are on the menu for many of us. Kendra Bailey Morris has an easy recipe for springtime quiche in the heart of the home.
There's some steps you can take to make your next quiche extra special. Kendra Bailey Morris shows us how in the heart of the home.
Hi, I'm Kendra Bailey Morris, and welcome to the Heart of the Home. Today we're going to be making a really great recipe. It's a brunch recipe or a breakfast recipe or a breakfast for dinner recipe, however you would like to approach it. And it's a ham, onion, and cheese quiche. And this is a really simple recipe to make. It's definitely something you can make ahead of time and bake, and then when your guests come, it's nice and hot, or make it ahead of time and serve it chilled, which is actually a very French way of serving quiche, and just serve it with a salad. So we're going to get started here, and what I'm going to do is add some unsalted butter to my pan. Get this going. And next I'm going to add some diced onion, and this is just diced sweet onions is what I prefer, like a Vidalia onion. And then also some honey ham, and you could use country ham if you wanted to, which is obviously going to be a little bit saltier or a lot saltier. Or you could use just a regular Black Forest ham. Leftover Christmas ham is perfect for this. And I'm going to saute these up together just a bit. And I'm going to add some black pepper. I'm not going to add any salt because my ham is already pretty salty. And if you're using country ham, don't add any salt to this at all. Okay, I'm going to let this get going, and what we're going to do is saute this until it's translucent, and you want it to be just slightly cooked through. Most importantly, you want to cook the liquid out of the vegetables and the liquid that tends to be in these ham, because we have a crust here that cannot get soggy, so you want to make sure that you do that. This is going. Meanwhile, and I've done this already, is I have a prepared pie crust. You can make your own. You could buy a refrigerated one. I don't always recommend using a frozen one. You can. I just prefer the refrigerated ones if you're going to go the quick route to the frozen ones. And what I've done here is I've gone ahead and put it in a pie plate, and I've pricked the bottom of it, which you always want to do that with your pie crust so it doesn't puff up. And I've par baked it in the oven for about 10 minutes or so, and that's just to keep it from getting soggy once we put our liquids in there, which is going to be milk and eggs. And this is going here. And what I'm going to do, and this is another tactic to keep it from getting too soggy on the bottom, is I'm going to put my cheese, and this is a Swiss cheese that we're using. You could use cheddar. You could use a blend of cheddar, Parmesan, whatever you like. And I've got about, I'd say a cup or so, more if you like it really cheesy, less if you want a little bit less. And I'm just going to put that in the bottom. Meanwhile, I'm going to finish sauteing this up probably another 5 minutes, and we will be right back, and I will show you what to do from here on out. Okay, so as you can see, I've got my ham and my onions all nice and sauteed, and they've got a crispy brown texture because they've been cooking in that butter. Really, really, really good. That's what you're going for. And what I'm going to do now is just add this to my pie crust, and I'm just putting it right on top of the cheese. Spreading it around a bit. All right. Just kind of spread it out evenly on your pie crust. Set that aside. Meanwhile, I'm going to make the foundation of the quiche, which is used always, almost always, some sort of combination of eggs and milk or cream or half and half or whatever. In this case, we're going to be using 6 eggs. I've already cracked 6 large eggs. And we're going to be adding a cup of whole milk. If you want it richer, you could substitute half heavy cream and half milk, or half and half milk, depending on how rich you would like this to be. Do keep in mind a little will go a long way if you add the heavy cream in here, because it's pretty rich, but it is good. And what I'm doing now is really just breaking up the eggs. I'm going to add some black pepper to this, freshly ground always. And then I've got just a pinch of thyme, maybe about a 1/4 teaspoon or so. This is dried thyme. And if you don't want the herbs in there, you don't have to add the herbs. If you would like something other than thyme, you can feel free to add that. I really like the flavor of tarragon with eggs. That would go really nicely with this, or savory. And what I'm going to do now is go ahead and pour this mixture into my pie crust, just like so. And as you can see, I've got my pie on a sheet pan. I recommend that you do that. It makes it much easier to transfer it without spilling it into your oven. And I've got my oven set on 350 degrees. And I'm going to go ahead and put my pie in there, and it's going to cook, or quiche rather, it's going to cook for about 40 to 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes depending on how slow your oven is. And we'll be right back. Okay, so it's been about 50 minutes here on my quiche, and I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the oven. And what you're looking for, as far as knowing that it's done, is that you want to be able to insert a toothpick or maybe a knife, and you want it to come out clean, and that's really all you're looking for. Also, if you find that your crust is starting to burn around the edges, you can take some tin foil and line it, and that'll keep it from burning and hopefully make it cook a little bit more evenly. All right. So here we are. We have our quiche, and it's beautiful. This, again, like I said, is something that you can make ahead of time. You could actually make it a day or two ahead of time and just warm it up. So it's great for entertaining. And what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and cut a slice. The best part. Make sure I get it in there really good. Excellent. There you go. I have a ham, onion, and cheese quiche. I'm Kendra Bailey Morris. Let's get cooking.
Recipes from the heart of the home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafarmbureau.org. Eggs are excellent sources of protein and can be part of a healthy diet if eaten in moderation. Virginia egg producers are part of the state's largest farm sector, poultry production. More than 741 million eggs are produced each year in Virginia by birds on commercial egg farms, supplying grocery stores throughout the Mid-Atlantic region. More than 300,000 birds are carefully cared for by egg farmers in Southwest and Southside Virginia and in the Shenandoah Valley. Their activity generates $69 million in cash receipts for farmers, or about 11% of the total income for poultry farmers in the Old Dominion.
More farmers are joining the local foods movement every year. But here are some tips to consider before you take the plunge and haul your produce to the farmer's market.
If you have ever romanticized about selling your homegrown produce at a local farmer's market, now is the time to sign up. Farmers markets have grown in popularity over the past decade and are pivotal in promoting the local foods movement across the country. So now is a great time to break into the biz. If you want to become a local vendor at a farmer's market, there are some important steps you must follow.
Virginia Cooperative Extension is a great place to start. You know, they're always a really good resource for what you would need to do in your particular region. Also, Virginia Department of Agriculture is a place you really need to start, because here at the market we ask you to be in compliance with whatever their regulations are. Whenever anybody approaches me about something we haven't had before, I always send them right back to Virginia Department of Agriculture to make sure that what they're doing is in compliance with them.
Kennedy is a market manager for the nation's third oldest farmers market, the Lynchburg Community Market. This venue has been offering space since 1783. The market includes both an indoor and exterior vending area, and in peak season has more than 50 farmers selling produce. Kennedy suggests those interested in selling at local farmers markets also look into niche farming or growing products that can't be found fresh in their local supermarkets.
And that's something that we really like, you know, the patrons look forward to, and we do as well. You know, we have certain people, like there's, you know, someone called the asparagus lady. That's how everyone, you know, talks about her, and her season's maybe, you know, 2 or 3 weeks long. And then now we have a gentleman who does just mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms. And so I think that along with coming down to the market and wanting to see the corn and the tomato and the apples, you know, you really have a lot of patrons who want to do all of their shopping here, and they want to be able to mix it up, and they want to be able to kind of like be able to really taste the community and the different things from the community that you wouldn't normally see on your plate.
After getting your certification from the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, you need to apply to sell at your local market. Each market has different rules, so it is important to contact them directly. Most markets have an application process for growers. Some may even have a waiting list and will contact new vendors when space is available.
This is the time of year, by this time, to contact a farmer's market and see if they have slots available coming into the high season, because in our region, the high season for the produce is about May through September. So certainly by beginning of the year is when you really want to contact those markets and make sure, because like for us, there's a lot of history behind the market, so you have a lot of farmers who have been you know, occupying these booths for many, many years. So if a space opens up, they tend to fill up pretty quickly.
To find a Virginia farmers market in your area, go to virginiagrown.com.
That's going to do it for this edition of Real Virginia. We are so glad you could join us to celebrate the bounty Virginia has to offer, whether it's in your home, your garden, or your landscape. We're proud to say that this is Real Virginia. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good month.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia.